The German battalion believed the fortress had finally fallen. For days, artillery had torn its walls apart. Before dawn, chlorine gas was released, carried slowly across the field by a patient wind. When the mist settled, everything was still. Bodies lay where they had fallen. The air itself seemed wounded. No movement came from the trenches. No signal from the fortress walls. The Germans advanced in formation, masks heavy against their faces, hoods pressing into the damp earth. They expected silence. They expected surrender. What they walked into was later remembered as the attack of the dead men. War does not remain simple for long. As the Great War dragged on, new weapons appeared, designed not only to kill, but to break the body in ways that older wars never imagined. The suffering caused by lethal gas was so severe that years later, nations would agree to forbid its use in battle. Osowiec happened before that agreement existed. It was August of 1915. The fortress stood inside the Russian Empire, near the border with East Prussia, guarding a narrow passage between rivers that mattered far more than the land around them. German forces had already tried to take it. They had failed. This time, they brought gas. On the 6th of August, around 4 in the morning, artillery fire began. Hours later, after waiting days for the wind to turn, cylinders of chlorine and bromine were opened. A thick cloud rolled forward. Leaves shriveled. The grass darkened. Metal began to corrode. Chlorine does not simply suffocate. When it meets moisture, it turns into acid inside the lungs, inside the eyes, inside the throat. Every breath became fire. Russian soldiers pressed cloth to their faces. Many fell where they stood. Others stumbled back towards the fortress, coughing violently, their bodies already failing. The nearly 800 defenders were decimated, alive, but all of them burning from within. When the gas began to thin, the field appeared empty. From the German perspective, the objective had finally been achieved. The order was given to advance. They moved forward through the damp ground, stepping between fallen men. The fortress ahead showed no sign of resistance. At first, there was only a shape in the fog, then another. Figures rose from the haze. Russian soldiers emerged slowly, faces wrapped in blood-soaked cloth, uniforms scorched, skin blistered and raw. Some leaned on their rifles to stand. Others forced their legs forward through pain that should have stopped them long before. They looked like men already claimed by the gas. And yet they advanced, coughing, bleeding, struggling for air. The sight broke the German formation. Confusion spread quickly. Orders were shouted, then lost in panic. Soldiers turned back towards their own lines, tangling themselves in barbed wire as they tried to retreat. Through the smoke and chaos, the surviving defenders opened fire. The assault collapsed. In the end, the war did not change direction for what happened there. The fortress would be abandoned weeks later anyway. The front would shift. The fighting would continue. But that morning, in a field soaked with poison, men who should not have been able to stand forced an army to run. Their delay lasted days. The image lasted longer. A silent field at dawn, shapes rising through the thinning mist. Men walking forward after the world had already counted them among the dead.